Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Brian Mert of Advertisement. Brian, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Man, it's awesome to be here. Thanks so much.
Definitely super excited to have you on. And before we jumped in, I want to read a little bit more about Brian so you can hear about all the awesome things that he's doing. And Brian is the CEO of Advertisement, a Hollywood based digital advertising agency that specializes in helping successful companies advertise on Facebook. Advertisement has managed millions of dollars in digital ad spend in entertainment, fashion, finance, and software industries. Brian is also the author of the best selling the complete guide to Facebook advertising and the complete guide to digital advertising policies infographic. He is a 15-year digital advertising executive and a member of the Forbes Agency Council. And prior to founding Advertisement, Brian built and sold GoFobo.com, an online ticket system that revolutionized entertainment industry and is now utilized by Warner Brothers and Disney. Brian, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
Oh, let's do it. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm actually absolutely excited as well too. And before we jumped in, I want to hear a little bit more on how you got started. Could you take us through your CEO story? We'll let you get started with all the awesome work you're doing.
Man, you know what is I never really was big into business. Growing up, I was super creative, always came up with good ideas, but I would say like in high school or college, people kind of would maybe write me off. Maybe it was more of a class clown type of person than necessarily a leader. Even though I think I had a lot of leadership qualities, I just, growing up wasn't around many CEOs or business owners. My family is kind of from the medical industry. So a lot of, doctors, nurses, people that work in, hospitals or medical related stuff. So, it's generally you get a good job, you go to school, you get a good job, and you go from there. Not necessarily, you go to be the boss or be in charge. So, I had a good friend that actually, I went to school to be a teacher. And I had a good friend that said, I'm going to go get my MBA because I think it could provide more opportunities if I ever wanted to expand beyond, a teaching down the road. And I was like, man, I'd never thought of that. So I actually I had to do, a lot more summer school and extra classes. But I went to MBA school, and that's really where I finally had someone that was, that said, hey, you should try to start a business. And that was, what's crazy is that of all MBA school, the dean of business was the first person in my life that said, go try. And this was before it was, this is before YouTube and, the internet was out there with tons of people being like, you can start a business. A lot of the tools that are available now, Shopify wasn't around, YouTube wasn't around, Facebook, was nowhere near as big. There weren't Facebook ads. So it was just the first time someone had kind of given me permission to go. And he didn't say become a billionaire. He just said, go try. And that's really where my journey began. Was he was the first one that kind of gave me the green light that says, go and come talk to me every week and tell me what you did. And that's kind of what got me started. And then once I feel like I had the permission to kind of go, like I would always have thought that business people had like a special, skill, like, me versus Michael Jordan, people would be like, there's something different. But if it was me versus, Bill Gates or Walt Disney or Steve Jobs, I think I had a lot of the traits that were similar to him. I just never had anyone that pointed those out to be like, you are like those guys. You want to be, at the top, you want to hustle, you want to work hard. You're smart about where there's problems and how to solve them. So it was like the first time that I actually tried, and, I tried and failed, but my dean of business would be like, just keep going. What's next? What's your next plan? What's coming right after that? And I think it got me through, I think the initial, a lot of times the barrier of failure that a lot of times people think they did something wrong. And he was like, no, just go try again. Or what happens next? You hit a wall. How do you get around it? If the front door is not open, where's the window? Where's the back door? Where's the basement? Go in the chimney. Like there's 20 ways you can solve a problem, not just, the one that you originally thought of. And I think, once that kind of started, that's really where I started to try to start different businesses and, get my hands and stuff and go from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And having that environment and then that permission, as you said, to even just try something where a lot of really phenomenal things come from by just, taking that step. And so many times we don't realize that the people that become extremely successful are not the people that never quote unquote fail. There's the ones that hit that wall and decide that, okay, well, let me do it this way, or let me do it that way. And they have that persistence related to that truly
Yeah. Yeah.
gets them to that
One
success.
of the things I would say that, always surprised me looking back
Mhm.
is that I didn't have anyone in my life that saw the traits that I had and were like, you are an entrepreneur. Like
Mhm.
you are really good at marketing. You're really good at leadership. Like you get stuff done and you work hard. It was no one in my world was a CEO or was a business owner. And so I just never even thought that was an option for me. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are willing to take that leap. It's scary being an entrepreneur or trying to start your own business, but there's rewards on the back end of it. And so if anyone's listening and you don't have family or someone that said that out to you, you now have Uncle Brian that
Mhm.
says, hey, give it a try. All you have to do is try. And you're probably going to fail. It's okay, but just keep trying, keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you for that, Uncle Brian, and adding Uncle Gresh as well too. I'm telling you to do it as well. Just trying. Phenomenal things sometimes happen from just
Yeah.
trying and having that persistence. So I wanted to drill down a little bit more here, a little bit more about advertisement. Can you take us through exactly like how you work with your clients and tell us a little bit more about your book as well?
Sure, sure. Yeah, we're a digital agency. On the internet, a lot of people know us for Facebook advertising. I've done a lot of digital advertising, managed hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in digital ad spend online for both myself and other companies. And when Facebook ads first launched, I was working at a financial company. We were spending millions of dollars every month, and I was able to tinker a little bit with the Facebook ad platform when it first launched. And so I saw all the potential. And I was like, this is incredible. And it was super quiet. There weren't people talking about it. There weren't a lot of people that were out there saying we know how to work it and do it. And so I realized, man, this is going to be huge. And so I quit my job and started, an agency to help other companies grow. And over the past 7 years, so much has changed in the landscape of how ads are managed and run, and the new tools that are available. And we've worked with people that'll call me the night before their Kickstarter campaign is launching, being like, we did everything except for get ads up. And then we've worked with, companies all the way up as big as, Coca-Cola, Viacom, Grant Cardone, some of these big, big, massive advertisers that people are like, oh yeah, we see their stuff everywhere online. And so it's crazy. There's strategies that work across the board. And that's what I love about digital is, even the little guy has the exact same tools that the companies and brands running Super Bowl ads have when it comes to digital advertising. And it's leveled the playing field, which is fantastic, because if you're a mom and pop pizza shop, you can still run highly effective digital ads that are within your budget that would be the exact same structure that a big major brand would be running and how they would be setting up their ads. So it's incredibly fascinating to me. We love working with new clients, and if anyone needs help with their ads, we work with Facebook, Google, Amazon, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest. A lot of these major platforms now have ads that you can run, targeted ads to specific audiences. And what we do is we work with each company to be like, what do you want? How do you be able to make money? And our team is really focused on performance. We focus a lot on, if you're going to put $1 up into ads, how do we make it get you as much money out as possible? Not just let's spend it and see what happens, but we want to get money to where it's generating money for your business so you can grow.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and being able to kind of leverage the opportunity that those have. Each of these platforms have in unique ways, but as you said so well, I think so many times these platforms provide the opportunity to be the same as the big players, so to speak, and
Yeah.
also be able to be very strategic in how you can target and have your messaging so that you're able to kind of get that ROI and that
Yeah.
success that you're hoping for. What would you consider to be what I call your secret sauce? And it could be for yourself individually or your business or a combination of both. But what do you feel kind of sets you apart and makes you unique?
I mean, one of the things that I think we really focus on is, I mentioned this before, but really performance. And I think, when it comes to people that are managing your ads, which is very much almost like a financial planner, they have access to your credit card, they're spending your money for your business. And I take that really seriously, and our team does as well. When I first started, back in MBA school, I didn't have much money because I was in school, and I started a business, and I used my cafeteria money that the school would give me to go put into Google ads. So there were days I'd run ads and I'm like, boom, hey, 5 times
Mhm.
return. I'm the greatest, all this is amazing.
Mhm.
And the next day, zero sales. And I'm like, oh no, like I'm not going to be eating for a week if I don't figure this out. So it became, serious for me. It became critical to be like, I've got to figure out how to get these ads right. I can't just spend money. And so I've always taken that approach with me where, I'm working now with clients being like, every dollar counts. And I think, there can be some laziness sometimes in digital advertising where, maybe management just doesn't understand what goes in, or they're like, I don't know. Is this good? Is this bad? I just, numbers are going and that's it. Our team is so focused on, is every dollar being used in the right way? And what's the strategy to be able to get more money first, and then expand from there? Because if revenue is coming in, you're going to be able to do more and more and more advertising. But if you're just spending money and it's not working, usually what happens is the clients are like, well, we need to trim stuff back. We need to slow it down. We're unhappy. And so we really want to just put that level of performance into everything that we do. And that's kind of how we measure ourselves.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And what was kind of coming to me is necessity is the mother of invention sometimes. And when you have that pressure, no diamonds. And a lot of times when you have that pressure,
Right.
like you said, and you want to try to create something, you want to perform and produce, that's really where that comes from. And I love that you've been able to kind of translate that over to the work and the clients that you work with now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit and I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
So, man, this is one that I've always done. And it's weird because I've never thought that this was necessarily anything special. And there was one time I was working in a WeWork in Santa Monica, and another guy walked by and saw what I was doing. And he was like, "What is this?" And so I used to, every morning, I'd get a pad of paper and I would write out what I would call a hit list, right? Like, these are things, I'd put a little box next to each one. These are things I got to get done today. Right. And, there's people that'll be like, you need to put them in order of most important. I would just write everything out and I'd be like, here we go. And I would sit down and my whole goal was like, how do I knock out as many of these as I can? Sometimes I would do the easy ones first. Sometimes I would do the hard ones first. Sometimes I would just go top to bottom and see how far I could get in a day. And so this guy came and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "It's my hit list." He was like, "Hit list? Like what?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a task assassin. Like I just
Mhm.
go and I knock these guys out one by one by one." And he loved that. And for the rest, now every time I talk to him or we're on Facebook, he's like, "What's up, Task Assassin?" And I
Mhm.
think it's something that really, in my world, has helped me in the world of, moving forward. There's a lot of things that need to get done. And I don't necessarily realize it because I'm like that on all the day. But my thing is, how quickly can I get something done and off my plate? As fast and as possible. Either I'm delegating or I'm doing it myself and it's done and it's marked off. And here's a great story is I didn't even realize that this happens now subconsciously, but I get a call from my wife and she's like, "I've got a flat tire." So her brother and I were going, I forget where we were going, but I was like, "Hold on, we got to go fix her." So as we're driving there, I call an Uber to meet us where the car's at. Um, we get there and then we jump at the Uber's waiting for us. So we jump in the car, we grab the battery. The battery was dead. So we grab it and we jump into a car and we start heading for a dealer. And I'm like, "Take us to the nearest dealer. This is the address." And while we're in the car, I'm calling the dealer being like, "I'm on my way. I need a battery for this car. I'll pay for it now. Can you have someone bring it out? We're going to be there and I have the thing in 9 minutes." And so, we're doing this and we pull up and there's a guy with a battery in the receipt saying, "Thank you so much." We grab it, we head back to the car. And so my brother-in-law is like, his eyes are wide and he's like, "Man, every step you were a step ahead, meaning you knew what was coming next and you were just lining those up to be like, boo, 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 boo." And he's like,
Mhm.
I'm blown away at how efficient the last 15 minute was of how we went from, there was a dead battery to there was a brand new battery in the car and we're on our way. He's like, I'm blown away at that. And I think those are the type of things that I try to do, which are, how do I knock down those tasks? How do I look a step ahead and be like, what's coming next? And how do I be prepared for that? But it's almost like a game, like a video game. You try to get those points or collect those coins, or get that perfect score. That's kind of how I attack each day and be like, what are the things I need to do? And how do I knock them down?
Yeah, I absolutely love that. The task assassin. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. So many times people are able to take, chaos, so to speak, and a lot of different things that are happening, and it doesn't actually pull them apart. They actually get a lot more focused and streamlined to be able to knock out those things and figure out how exactly to get to where you
Yeah.
want to be. So I love that you've been able to do
Yeah.
that.
And I think, one of the other things that really has helped with is momentum,
Hmm.
right? That once those balls start getting, they're rolling or things are getting done, momentum is happening in multiple areas. And the momentum in your business is going to start from you, right? That, you are the one that's going to be picking up the speed, and eventually your team will be doing it. And then from there, the team underneath them, and as things grow. But, a lot of that momentum is what creates excitement. It's what creates opportunities. It's where doors start to open that you're like, oh man, I didn't know that could happen. But all of a sudden now other things are opening up to me, and deals are coming through. And a lot of that came from, a deal that would come through today could have been 6 months of work on me doing, different content, or different marketing plans, or different ideas, or connection that led to a connection that led to a referral, that happened down the road. So I think, when it comes to getting stuff done, even if you don't necessarily know what to do, I would be like, make a list of what things will get you just a step further down the road, and be like, let me get those started today, and send out 5 emails of asking people if they'd want to work with me. Or, it doesn't have to be, winning the Super Bowl. It can be like, I'm just going to go out and throw a football today, or I'm going to find one other person that wants to play football with me. You're like, you can do those small incremental steps, and those are wins, as you move down your path and your journey.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. So many times you hear people like they're starting quote unquote New Year's resolutions, or they're
Yeah.
starting something different, and they want to go to the gym. And it's not about going to the gym, it's about tying your shoes. And once you
Yeah.
start building that momentum, as you said, you start to find yourself at the gym, you start to see your goal weight, start to see that impact in so many different ways. So definitely appreciate that, Uncle Brian. And so now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. So that could be a word of wisdom or piece of advice. It might be around advertising, or if you hopped into a time machine, it might be something you would tell your younger business self.
Man, but one thing, it's weird how this kind of is there, but what I would say is my little quote, or my mantra that I live for, is boom, make it happen. And
Mhm.
so I think the boom is, I'm always a big fan of fireworks, right? Anytime I can get my hands on some, we get to light them off. I love it because, they're loud, there's lots of lights. It's always just a good time with fireworks, a little dangerous. Your mom was always like, hey, don't play with those. But you're like, I know what I'm doing. So I love the fact that when the firework goes off, there's a moment in time, like a snap, a sound. And so the boom is the reaction, the starting gun of the race. And then the make it happen is just, it's make it happen. It's not win first place. It's not beat everyone else. It's not, take over and be better than Elon Musk. It's just make it happen. Find a way to, in your own world, in your own journey, in your own battles, to get to that next point. And whether that's walking 10 steps, whether that's a mile, whether that's running 100 miles, that's it. It's your own race. It's your own thing. And my thing is just make that happen wherever you have to go, take action and start moving towards that. And I think I have a lot of friends that, they always are like, oh man, how are you a CEO, or how did you get into business? And I'm like, you and I went to school together. Like we were, running around playing sports. Like you know who I mean. But my thing that makes me different is, if I have an idea, it's boom, now make it happen. What is the first step towards heading in that direction? And that's just something I've always taken with me, and kind of a mantra I live with, which is get started. You know, no more time. Like if I need to lose weight or get to the gym, my thing is grab the shoes on and start running. Don't worry about, do I have the perfect outfit, or do I have the watches that can track me, or all the equipment. It's, I need to get outside and start moving. I need to get my legs running. I need to be sweating. I need to be doing some jumping jacks. Like I can start going without thinking of all the things that need to be lined up. I really need to just move. And as I keep moving, I'll probably come up with better workouts or find better options. But a lot of times people, and the friends that I have, can kind of get into, analysis paralysis. They start to think of all the things that could go wrong. I might get injured at the gym. Oh, the gym might be closed. Oh, I may not have the right equipment that helps me, be fit. And I'm like, no, you just got to run, man. Put on those shoes. You don't even need shoes. You run barefoot. Just head outside and go walk a mile. Like there's options for making something happen right now. And then once you do that, you'll realize there's probably a better way, and do that when you do it the second time, and then a better way on the third time and the fourth time. And, but if you're moving, that, I think that is where the magic happens, is in momentum, in movement, in not being stagnant. If you can, get that boat moving through the water, you are going to be closer to a destination. And even if you go the exact wrong way, you will get there and realize I just went the wrong way. And now you turn around and now you know the right way to go towards finding treasure, towards finding wealth. So now it's exciting because you're like, oh, now I know this is not the way. I need to go the other direction.
Yeah, absolutely love that. And so many times we get so stuck in making everything perfect before we take action. But I think when you're taking that action and you can begin to improve it rather than
Yeah.
perfect it, then you really get that momentum and that energy towards where you want to go. Whether we're talking about going to the gym or we're talking about advertising, there's so many different ways that you can in your business and in your life. And so I want to ask you now my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So, Brian, what does being a CEO mean to you?
I think there's an element of being a leader, of being someone that is the visionary that's looking at, hey guys, we're heading in this direction. It's taking ownership. If things work well, it's great. If things aren't working well, it starts with you. And it's something that I see a lot of. A lot of people are quick to blame someone underneath them. On my end, I'm always like, hey, it stops with me. If there's a problem, I'm a part of it because that got through the cracks or it was allowed to exist, and we need to figure out how to solve that will help our team move more efficiently and move better. I kind of come from the approach that the CEO works for the company doesn't necessarily work for the CEO. That's always been my approach, and I'm very much a person that rolls up his sleeves and it says, hey, let's get in there. If there's a problem, let's get in, let's fix it. What do we need to do? At the same time, leading and being like, okay, now that we know what we're doing, I've got to get up, make sure we're steering the ship in the right direction. But I think it really is. It's a combination of leadership. It's a combination of wisdom and having that vision on where you're going, and then there's an element of being smart and being wise and being open to listen to other people that may have options or suggestions. The first business I ever built and sold, I was an intern at a company and I saw where there was an opportunity. I went to the president and said, hey, we could build this for you. Like, I was an intern, I wasn't getting paid anything. And I was like, I'm pretty sure we could figure this out and it would help the company. And he was like, it's a dumb idea. It's always been done this way. We don't need that. Go back to your room and just, get back to work. Like, who are you talking to me anyway? And I eventually went and found a friend from college and we built it. And 2 years later, their company came back and said, we want to buy it from you. We sold it to their competitors and they ended up buying the competitor. And eventually we were back all in one meeting. And this guy was like, I remember when you came and talked to me, all I had to do was listen to you. And here we are, 2.5, 3 years later, where you're with all the presidents of the company and we're in the process of acquiring this again. He was like, I'll never forget this lesson at all. So I think, a lot of times the best ideas can come from your team.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I love that servant leadership piece that you kind of talked
Yeah.
about. And I think being and serving, the team, serving the company rather than this company serving you is where those
Yeah.
great ideas sometimes come from. And you listen to those that are on your team and trying to put you forth on the right path. So, Brian, truly appreciate that definition. And I appreciate your time even more. What I wanted to do is just pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know. And of course, how best they could get a hold of you, get a copy of the book, and find out about all the awesome things you're working on.
Nice. Well, one, I want to thank you so much for having me here. And I know you've got tons and tons of listeners. So for anyone that made it to the end of this, this is the book, The Complete Guide to Facebook Advertising. I write this every year. It's a bestseller on Amazon, but I have a free copy that I want to give away only to someone that's listening to this right now. So what I want you to do is you've got to find I Am CEO on social, anywhere they're at, like them, leave them a comment or comment on this one, like the podcast, give it a 5-star review, whatever you can do. And we're going to be picking a winner out of that, contacting them saying, hey, we've got a book that we want to send over to you. So, beyond that, if you need any help with any of your advertisings or just want to be able to talk about maybe some of the options that might be there for your company, feel free to reach out to myself or anyone on our team at advertisement.com. And we're always, willing to have those conversations and help you understand what options you have.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much again, Brian. We will have the links and information in the show notes as well as far as a way for you to take advantage of this giveaway that you made available to us. So I truly appreciate you again, and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me.